Shalom, everybody. Next episode of Reading with SHILO. I'm out here. We are here to pick back up in chapter 1 and try to finish off chapter 1. Period A Washington. Oh Lord. If you could feel, if you could walk, if you could talk, then you know those was coming ahead of us. But prepare yourself. Prepare your body, prepare your mind. Let's go. Oh, what I want. 5 more push-ups, I guess. 25 more push-ups. 7 more push-ups. Do it on my load. Oh, let's rock with it. 25. 25, let's get started. Let's get started. What you gonna do? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what you gonna do. I'm gonna do 25. 25 on me, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and one more. 25 things. 25 lighters on my dresser. Oh! Good googly moogly. Oh, shalom, my son. Oh, my boy. Oh, you caught me after I did my push-ups. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't breathe. Oh, I'm tired.
I was not sleep right last night.
You was what?
I was not sleep right last night. I was on the cover, and then I recorded that I went to sleep right.
Oh, man, your funky mouth. You woke up with funky mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad you are. I'm glad the Most High saw fit to let you open your eyes this morning. You open your eyes, you talk to me, you came walk to me and saw your daddy. I love you. Eee! You have everything you need to succeed today, son. Brush the grill. Go brush your grill. Get you some eat. Shalom, shalom. All right. Let's get up in this medical apartheid this morning, or this AM today. We're going to try to finish off chapter 1. As long as the connection permits itself, we'll keep going. We'll keep going and push through chapter 1 today. Get to chapter 2. Got about 5 or 6 pages, man. Yeah, I lie. More than 5. Arash. I wonder if that's how you pronounce it. Arash. Anyway, let's go. Let's jump into it. Ooh, early morning reading. I did my little push-up. I need to do more than that. After I get off, I'm going to quit my 100. Do my 100 right quick. Get in there, do some knees. I should have brought my dummy in here. That's what I'm going to do next time. Bring my dummy so I can get some knees on my dummy. Anyway, all right. Medical apartheid. The dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to the present by Miss Harriet A. Washington. We stopped off in chapter 1. This is part 2 of chapter 1. We should have been in chapter 2 today, but we're going to finish it. Part 2 of chapter 1. Despite their claims of unique expertise, the shoddy research that Southern physicians conducted into Black health consisted of an untested nucleus of mythology about the biological nature of Blacks. Negative visceral reactions to Blacks' appearance, historical writings, racial descriptions from antiquity, Natural scientists and endless and largely fictional catalogs of racial traits and biblical interpretations all provided a framework for scientific and medical theories about blacks. So did a blame the victim approach to the poor health of the enslaved. The scientific racist emphasis was not upon fact-based theories, logical methodologies, experimental data, control groups, and verification by replication. There were neither checks against accepting assumptions as facts nor any tests for confounding social factors. There certainly was no provisions for removing ethnocentric basis or bias, This science was a embodiment of ethnocentric bias. This science also served a critical political purpose, for it provided a biological and ethical rationale for enslavement. Historical documents reveal that African Americans recognized this hazardous medical agenda and resisted when they could. Thus, medical abuse fed itrophobia, the fear and loathing many Black Americans harbor to this day toward the American medical establishment. I think I got that. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared you're going to put something in my body without me knowing. I'm scared you're going to do something to me. I'm scared. Itrophobia. Itrophobia. Of logic and culture. The nature of race itself is an important but nebulous and shifting facet of scientific medical thought. As early as AD 160, the Roman physician Galen, from 129 to 199, described African men as possessing oversized sexual organs and inferior intelligence. Big meats in their minds. But until the 17th century, the changing meaning of race had encompassed only nations and families. Race in the singular also denoted all the mankind in the race of man. Use of the term race to denote biologically different types of mankind involved only in the 18th century, when the study of animal breeding gave rise to heightened awareness of animal subspecies and the possibility of breeding animals to encourage desired traits. Not coincidentally, this period coincided with the growth of the slave trade, when the biological distinctiveness of men became economically important. Those who studied the different groups of men were called ethnologists and were the forerunners of the anthropologists. Ethnologists applied the classification and characterization methods of the natural sciences called taxonomy to the study of man. Even after the meaning of race came to include subgroupings of man, it had several meanings. By races, some meant biological subspecies of man. Analogous to the different breeds of dog. Analogous. Let's see what that means. I think it means, by races, some meant biological subspecies of man. Analogous to the different breeds of dog. Something to do with not like. I think that's what it means. Not like the different breeds of dog. Analogous or unlike the different breeds of dog. Let's see. Analogous. ANALOGOUS. Let's see if we can find it in a small dictionary. Analogous. It's in here. Similar, corresponding. Yeah, I was correct. I was along the same lines. Analogous. ANALOGOUS. Similar, corresponding, analogous. Different breeds of dogs, or similar to the different breeds of dog. Analogous to the different breeds of dog. Dogs. Yes. For example, Swedish naturalist Carl von Carolus Linnaeus, the most famous of the taxonomists, categorized Africans and their extensions, U.S. blacks, as Homo afer, theorizing that black men had different evolutionary forebears and had evolved along a separate evolutionary track from white men. And in 1735, the first edition of his Systema Nature also designated the subspecies Homo sapiens americanus for Native Americans. Well, they just naming all kind of shit. I'm gonna name you Homo sapiens. Homo erectus. Homo shiitate. Where they get these damn names from? Who the hell came up with this shit? Homo sapiens ether was ruled by caprice. Chevy. This use of the word race in the sense of biologically distinct subset of Homo sapiens was popularized in 1749 by George Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon. Buffon. Sound pretty French. A wealthy French intellectual who made important contributions to medicine and natural history. Buffon notably theorized that the resemblance between apes and humans hinted at a common ancestry. I bet Buffon. For other theorists, race indicated entirely different species of men, with different origins, as well as different characteristics for blacks and whites. Those who believed in this theory were paleogenous. Still, others believe that whites and blacks shared a common ancestral ape and a single species. These were the monogenous. Most monogenous believed that whites and blacks were originally and inherently equal, but the blacks had suffered from environmental and social pressures that caused them to become inferior. Other monogenous believed that blacks' devolution had imparted permanent inferiority, although they still shared a species designation with whites. A devolution, huh? Devolution. I think the person living in caves was the one in devolution. I think the one who had to be taught to wash themselves was the ones in devolution. How to cook your food, devolution. How we got the common sense shit down. But we uncivilized. We got the common sense shit. Don't put your hand there. Shit down there bite you. Common sense shit. White folks. Oh shit. Devolution. Go get my book. Go. Throughout the 17th century and into the earliest 18th century, the theories of scientific racism were informed by the Bible as well as by science. Monogenesis, for example, held that people of every race had originated from the biblical Adam and Eve, and gradually blacks had taken on divergent characteristics such as darkened skin, woolly hair, and prognathous features. I think it's the other way around. Everybody was black. Everybody had colored skin, and pink people came along later on because of the de-evolution from the darker skin to the paler skin, to the pink skin. Yep. The pink folk. Such as darkened skin, woolly hair, and prognathous features dictated by the African climate. The idea that blacks' features were dictated by climate was already widespread, Shakespeare's Cleopatra, for example, is described as burnt black by Phoebus' amorous kisses. Amorous, amor for love. Phoebus' love kisses. Yep, you're right. You're right, UL. UL, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. In the end, it was scientific belief that proved malleable, and by the late 1830s, they bent to accommodate the political reality of abolitionism, and black and white abolitionists were turning world and domestic opinion against enslavement as inhumane, unjust, and unchristian. I don't know if it's unchristian, my boy. And pro-slavery physician scientists such as Josiah Clark Knott, Samuel George Morton, Louis Agassiz, and George Robbins Gibbon, leaders of the American School of Ethnology, went on the defensive. They responded by portraying the enslaved blacks as inherently debased and immutably so. I'm stumbling over my words right now. No amount of training, education, or good treatment could make him the equal of the white man. And according to Paleogenus, blacks were physically inferior and were liars, malingerers, hypersexual, and indolent. And in the early years of the 18th century, blacks were most often compared to beasts. Later in the century, comparisons to European children reigned instead, children who could never grow up, and the slave became Peter Pan in blackface. Who my Tinker Bell, so I could fly away from here then. And go to Never Land. I just want to fly away. I believe I can fly. Since you want me to fly away like Peter Pan. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy sometimes how people think this way. But if I'm Peter Pan, why don't you just let me go? Let us go. Let us be. If we're so inferior, what is the need of the superior to hold on to the inferior? You're superior. Your life should be easy. You're so superior. The same person Captain Hook was. The pink people. And time ain't on your side. The pink people. Pink folks. It is also important to trace the tangled distinctions between racism and racialism. Racists believe in an innate, usually immutable inferiority, but racialist is a confusing label because it is applied to people holding very different beliefs. The term can denote a person who believes that race and skin color does signal inherent attributes, but that the attributes in question are simply different, neither negative nor inferior. But racialist can also mean a person who interprets the different features and qualities of blacks as superior. The word racialist has recently been used to describe actions taken to redress long-standing racial wrongs, such as affirmative action to bolster the fortunes of blacks. Then again, racialist can also be a mere synonym of race for racist, as it long was used in England and has been adopted by racial hatred groups as a euphemism for racism. As a result of this semantic confusion, a once useful term has been rendered worthless by its many contradictory meanings. The awkward and pallid term race-based seems the closest thing we know we now have to neutral racial adjective. Whatever their pet theory, the many physical differences between blacks and whites suggested a hierarchy of humanity to scientific races. Different from whites meant inferior. And inferiority was documented in entire catalogs of black flaws that filled medical journals and textbooks. In 1893, Morton published Crania Americana, a book written to demonstrate how human skull measurements indicated a hierarchy of racial types. That's why they still do that, the head checks and stuff, and like in the what they call that shit, man, the combine. And the combine, they still do all them. They still do a lot of them checks, them slave checks. You want to check, your meat size, your head size. You want to look all in your mouth, see how your teeth look. Oh, this is a good nigga here. Look at him. Look, good, strong, not a bone broken. He'll work for years, boss. It's crazy that like you say, the fastest people, the strongest, everything, the smartest as well, all that they have is considered inferior. Usain Bolt, he inferior. Dominique Dawes, inferior. Who else? Shit, there's a bunch of them. LeBron, Michael Jordan, inferior. Denzel Washington, inferior. Black Panther, inferior. Even though Wakanda was the best of everything, inferior. Oh, shit. Whoever that man is that made the air condition, inferior. Let's see who he was that made that air condition. Who was that man that made that air condition? I know I got it here. Inferior. Let's see, man. I know I got it here. Where my people book? Where my book on people? There we go. There we go. Let's see these people. Look at all these inferior people. Inferiority. Man, it's such a terrible thing to have. Inferiority. They say within this society, within this realm, world, framework of design that we're in, up is down and down is up. East is west and west is east. So inferior actually must mean superior. Since everything is up, you Who was the nigga that made? Who was the man that made the light inferior? Ooh, you got a refrigerator today because of inferiority. You got stoplights because of inferiority. I had another book that highlighted the inventions. I ain't gonna. I'll find it another time. We'll come in with that. Inferiority, huh? Whatever the pet theory, the many physical differences between blacks and whites suggested a hierarchy of humanity to scientific races. Different from whites means inferior, and inferiority was documented in entire catalogs and black flaws. 1839. Morton published Crania Americana, a book written to demonstrate how human skull measurements indicated a hierarchy of racial types. Morton determined that Caucasians, pink people, had the largest skulls and therefore the largest brains, and blacks the smallest. I don't know about that, man. I done seen some heads. I done seen some heads on some of my people, man. My people got some heads, man. No, man. And shape funny. Oh, Lord. But that don't mean they inferior just because they got funny shaped heads. Big funny shit. His tests were the forerunner of phrenology, which sought to determine character and intelligence by interpreting the shape of the skull. Yeah, boy. By 1848, Louisiana's, my people, well, not my people, he's just from my state. Samuel A. Cartwright, MD, had gained renown by publishing a plethora of articles on Negro medicines in Southern medical journals, leading to Medical Association of Louisiana to appoint him chair of its committee to investigate Black health and sociology. That same year, Cartwright published his paper, The Diseases and the Negro Race. Cartwright augmented his scholarly work with the constant onslaught of medically based pro-slavery letters to newspapers and popular magazines. He supported his widely read claims of Black inferiority with a mixture of and scientific theories that was not unusual for this time. Cartwright suggested that Blacks' physical and mental defects made it impossible for them to survive without white supervision and care. But they was doing it all that time without y'all. Ooh, look at these niggas we found living here for so long. They built all this shit. Oh, Lord, look at them. But you know what they need? They need... Oh, them people that been living here got pyramids and all type of shit. They need us. so we could, civilize them for building pyramids and shit. Civilized people don't build shit like that. Civilized people don't build shit. We don't build shit. We take shit. Cartwright suggested that Blacks' physical and mental defects made it impossible for them to survive without white supervision and care, alleging that the cranium of Blacks was 10% smaller than that of whites, preventing full development of the brain and causing a stunting of the intellect. French scientist Louis-Pierre Gratolet added that in the Negro, the cranium closes prison. It is no longer a temple divine. To use the express Malpighi, Malpighi, I don't know what's the name, Malpighi, but a sort of helmet for resisting heavy blows. Cartwright even asserted that Blacks had a very different breathing apparatus and skeletal structure from that of whites. Or from that of pinks. Because the folks ain't white. I ain't met a person this color yet. I ain't met these people yet. Where are these people at? I done met plenty of people this color though. Pinky. Pinky and the brain. They pink and we the brains, baby. By 1851, Cartwright yeah, we so inferior that you need our stem cells. You need to take the shit out of our women. We so inferior. That inferior can't make you better. Inferior, you can't take something inferior It's like dead cells. You can't take dead cells and put them with new cells and expect the dead cells to make the new cells better. It's not going to happen. It's a botched theory. And how can your superior mind not see the theory is botched? And I got my shit looking like I'm up here looking like I'm in the military again. Ooh, I'm a black beret. Anyway. Cartwright, by 1851, Cartwright had also discovered and described a host of imaginary black diseases, whose principal symptoms seemed to be a lack of enthusiasm for slavery. Escape might have seemed normal behavior for a slave in ancient Greece or Rome, but Cartwright medically condemned such behavior in American blacks, offering a diagnosis of drapetomania. Let's see what that is. Drapetomania. Hey, it says some messages were deleted. I didn't delete your message, man. My phone is doing what the hell it wants to do. AI got a mind of its own. AI got a mind of its own. So don't, if you see your stuff deleted, man, please use your common sense. And where's my hands? My hands is holding the book, so I'm not deleting your messages. But if your messages do get deleted, I apologize. Drapetomania. 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 Let's see if it's in any of these. I'm gonna take the big one. I'm gonna start with we're gonna go with what's best. Yeah, I wish I could go back and that's a good comment. You're right. They didn't use any logic. No logic in a bigotry. If we was to do that today, boy, we need to take pink people and operate and experiment on them to see, what kind of cures we can come up with. Drapetomania. Drapery. It's not in here. Oh well. Damn, I hate it when I can't find words I'm looking for. I wonder if it's in this dictionary. Let's see if it's in here. Let's see if it's an encyclopedia. We'll consider it to pseudoscience. We're gonna see though. You might be right, but let's look in this old encyclopedia. Maybe we might look up in this old encyclopedia. Drapier, drape. Drapetomania, drapery, drape. I don't know drapery. I want drapetomania. Oh man, it's not in here. I don't see no drapetomania. Yeah, drapery is the last word it has in here. Drapery and curtains. All right, well, drapetomania. Can't find you. Drapetomania, offering a diagnosis of drapetomania from the Greek words for flight and insanity. I guess he was saying that they was too crazy to run. It was down here we got, man. They different. They crazy. Hebitude was a singular laziness and shiftlessness that caused slaves to mishandle and abuse their owner's property. Dysthesia, ithopica, dysthesia ithopica. Dysthesia ithopica was another Black behavioral malady, which was characterized by a desire to destroy the property of white slave owners. Cartwright claimed that it differs from every other species of mental disease, as it is accompanied with physical signs or lesions of the body, discoverable to the medical observer. Strama africana was a form of tuberculosis that physicians misdiagnosed as a peculiarly African disease. Cachexia africana referred to Blacks' supposed propensity for eating non-food substances such as clay, chalk, and dirt. See, there goes the uncivilized stuff. You know, that clay, chalk, and dirt hold certain nutrients and it's certain things that need like iron and other I can't think of the word right now, other essential things that are in that clay, that dirt. Cachexia africana referred to Blacks' supposed propensity for eating non-food substances, such as clay, chalk, and dirt. Actually, this disorder, which is called pica today, is not racially specific, and the cravings it inspires were probably related to rampant malnutrition among slaves. Tellingly, Dr. Cartwright recommended that these ailments be treated with corporal punishment. Whip it out of nigga. Corporal punishment, or with internment in work camps. Ain't that something? Oh, you want to eat dirt? Let's put your ass to work. But the patients put the patient to some hard kind of work in the open air and sunshine. The compulsory power of the white man or the pink man, by making the slothful Negro take active exercise, puts into active play the lungs, through whose agency the vitalized blood is sent to the brain to give liberty to the mind. Other medical disorders were thought to manifest differently, usually less severely in Blacks. Syphilis, for example, was held to be racially dimorphic, and physicians believed that it worked its most feared damage within the neurological system of whites, but that the less evolved nervous system of the Blacks was left relatively unimpaired. In Blacks, syphilis was thought to attack the muscles, including the heart. This belief that syphilis in Blacks differed dramatically from the disease in whites provided a rationale for the infamous U.S. Public Health Services, the PHS, Tuskegee study of syphilis in the untreated Negro male. Between 1932 and 1972, 600 Black men, their wives, and their children were deceived into participating in a research study that denied them treatment. So that PHS scientists could trace the progress of the disease in Blacks. And in an 1850 paper, Cartwright insisted that whites and Blacks differed so dramatically that the same medical treatment, which would benefit or cure a white man, would often injure or kill a Negro. This universal belief in uniquely Black diseases led doctors and planters to clamor for a textbook on the medical care of Blacks. But such a book was not written until almost a century later. When it appeared in 1942, it was no paean to white superiority, but rather was entitled The Biology of the Negro, a text edited by African American physician Julian Herman Lewis. It was followed in 1975 by the masterwork Textbook of Black-Related Diseases by Richard Allen Williams, MD. Allegedly inferior cognition was only the tip of the iceberg. And in 1854, several years after Cartwright published Report on the Diseases and Physical Peculiarities of the Negro Race, and 5 years before Darwin published On the Origin of Species, Mobile, Alabama physician Josiah Nutt, MD, and George R. Glidden produced an equally popular screed entitled Types of Mankind. In it, they claim that Blacks' physical and mental differences signal their polygenic origins. And proved Black inferiority. For example, Knott theorized that the distinct knee joint and long heel of the Black man proved he had been created as a submissive knee bender, a servant to whites. Scientists adjudged the dark skin of the Africans as a biblical curse. I guess that's that Mormon shit right there. That's what they say, the curse of Cain. Curse set them aside as eternal servants to other men. Black Americans were thought as a race that was biologically identical to the African race. And there originally was some logic to this, because 20% of slaves were still Native Africans. In 1780, although the number dropped to only 10% by 1830, a few decades after slave importation officially stopped, mulattoes, the progeny of Black-white matings, were considered to be a separate race, according to ethnologists of the American schools. Blacks' features marked them as different species. Large buttocks and genitals that indicated hypersexuality, a head covering with a head covering that was not hair, but analogous to the wool of livestock. The size of the skull, determined by painstaking but rigged measurements. The prognosis, facial angles of Blacks, and the thick lips that testified to their ape-like nature. Had scientists of the era more correctly noted that apes and chimpanzees have the thinnest of lips that look like pink people. They doubtless would have ignored this feature before they credited Blacks with such an evolutionary advance. Physicians discovered many imaginary physical differences in Blacks, such as fingernail anomalies, a distinctive topography of the breasts, elongated penises, disproportionately large hands and feet, distended labia, and clitorides, all of which provided scientific races with ample evidence of Black biological primitivism. In fact, few anatomical sites escape persistent labeling as definite indicators of Black inferiority. And as late as 1903, Dr. W.T. English observed a careful inspection reveals the body of the Negro a mass of imperfections from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Even biological advancements were cast as racial flaws. In discussing the tendency of Blacks to survive yellow fever epidemics that kill whites, one physician denounced the inferior susceptibility of Black slaves. Insidious immunities. Insidious immunities. Correct. Correct. You will. Both. You're right. Adamus. Insidious immunities. Man, we got a lot of pages left. Shit. To chapter 1. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna see how far we get. It's only gonna be like an hour read. I'm gonna have to put part 2. I definitely want to find a stopping point. Man, we got about down 10 pages to go for the first chapter. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pages. 7 pages. I might be able to read the way I'm reading right now. To keep it under an hour, to keep it at an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour, I give me about 10 more minutes of reading. I might could do 2 pages. 2 full pages front and back. Might have to go there. We might go there. We'll see. We shall see. Insidious immunities. Polygenism, the belief in separately evolved species, also held the persons of one race could not survive in a climate designed for another. Whites who tried to live and work in West Africa, a climate putatively designed for blacks, died in droves, earning it the sobriquet, the pink man's grave. When the 19th century death rate for British soldiers ranged between 483 and 668 per 1,000 soldiers in Africa, compared to the general annual death rate of 15 per 1,000. Historian Warwick Anderson, MD, describes how the U.S. military sought to exploit the natural affinity of Black Americans for the tropics. And in 1900s, Nathaniel Southgate Shaler, the dean of Harvard, required for and it's on that. The African American Constitution was pre-adapted to the tropical diseased environment. But the Philippines, Shaler's distinguished advice was already redundant. During the previous 2 years, the United States had been using African Americans and Filipino scouts to suppress the resistance to its occupation of the archipelago. Position claimed by that the whites could never work in Africa or in the subtropical environments such as the U.S. South. The Southern land-owning class, including physicians, paid attention because they equated disease with the sinister climate and were confronted with an oppressively hot and humid, malarious environment that they believed to be teeming with yellow fever, smallpox, pellagra, typhoid, dysentery, and cholera. They were all faced with the fertile lands that required back-breaking labor with the attendant risk of heat prostration, sunstroke, parasitic infestation. An immune population specifically designed by the creator to work long, hard, and for free as submissive knee benders, where is that? Was the perfect answer to their dilemma. In mid-century, Samuel A. Cartwright and his medical brethren, such as Charles Liebach, belabored the immunities to malaria and yellow fever. They claimed black exhibited. They claimed blacks exhibited. What's up?
That was some serious things?
I thought I told you that. Yes, sir. I thought you was coming to read with me. I thought you was coming to listen to Daddy do his reading rainbow. Just take a look. It's in a book. The reading rainbow. I can't read anything. Just take a look. It's in a book. What don't you know about the reading rainbow, boy? You don't know nothing about that reading rainbow before your time. Reading rainbow. Yes, sir. You can have some. Yes, sir. While I continue on with my reading rainbow. I can't read anything. This is a reading rainbow. Ooh. But to fully, they might have a new version of the Reading Rainbow. But to fully justify enslavement, scientists such as Knott had to turn from their natural texts to their Bibles, from which they deduced that blacks were the children of Ham, son of Noah. No, we're the children of Shem. Mm-hmm. Now they got some of the children of Ham, who, along with his progeny, was marked and condemned to be servant to his brother for having viewed his father's nakedness. Other similar biblical justifications were found, and Knott even ventured on to a twisted ethical high road when he insisted that yellow fever and malaria were visited upon whites as divine punishment for not enslaving blacks. Well, I bet they was enslaving them after that. You want malaria? You don't want it? You better go get you some blacks. He insisted that non-slave-holding whites contracted these diseases as a result of usurping the natural black role of laborers in the field. And pragmatic planters and politicians ignored the religious moralizing, but embraced the useful fact that black slaves were the only logical medical choice for back-breaking labor in their sunny fields. The immunities in question were usually partial and sometimes imaginary. Planters' own records bear the best evidence that blacks' immunity to heat prostration was merely a convenient myth. And one Virginia owner observed in 1825, the hottest day ever, men gave out and some fainted. The 1851 journals of K. Washington Skinner, overseer on the Gowrie plantation, noted, on Monday last, Coda and Siri received a stroke of the sun. Many of the other Negroes staggered about considerably. Blacks were supposed to be immune to malaria, but such immunity is complex and was poorly understood before 1900s, and malaria denotes a group of lingering infectious diseases marked by long cycles in which waves of utter debility alternate with periods of better health. These periodic relapses can end in death, depending upon the strain of malaria and the immunological vigor of the sufferer. The disease is spread by parasites injected by the bite of the female Anopheles mosquito, and at the time it was widespread outside of New England, especially throughout the South. However, 18th and 19th century, Southern physicians did not understand that malaria, which they called intermittent fever, remittent fever, fever and ague, or quotidian fever, actually has three different traits or strains, with differing causes, symptoms, and prognosis. Falciparum or Vavax malaria are the most common North American strains. Another strain, malaria, is so rare and so similar to Vivax that scientists tend to consider them a single entity. Vivax malaria, which antebellum physicians called tertane fever, causes racking symptoms of high fever, chills, headache, icy bone pains, anemia, profuse sweating, and exhaustion, many of which recur at 48-hour intervals. It can become chronic and last for years. Damn! I don't want no years of malaria. But it kills only 5% of its victims. Falciparum malaria ends more quickly, but it is much more severe and can cause a stroke by compromising the blood flow to the brain and kidneys. 40% of its victims die. In 1826, Dr. Philip Tiedemann wrote, "Intermittent fever, so hostile to the constitution of the white inhabitants, has no terror for the Negro, who, when attacked, requires but little medicine to get rid him of this insidious enemy, to secure him against the return. However, planters' records and physicians' journals are full of accounts of slaves laid low with or dying of malaria. It was an extremely common complaint, one that coincided inconveniently with harvest time in the late summer or early fall. So it was a serious monetary concern to the planters, who were willing to expend money on physicians to get their malaria-stricken slaves back into the fields as soon as possible. I bet. Oh, man. Scientists were wrong in posting Africans' innate absolute resistance to malaria, and they were equally wrong in suggesting that whites could mount no immunity. Anyone, black or white, who grows up in a malarious area and survives repeated infections and bouts with Falciparum comes to live in an uneasy truce with the parasite, becoming not quite well, but not acutely ill. This state of immunological compromise misled planters into thinking that these slaves were unaffected when they were exposed to Falciparum malaria and did not die. Such immunity is temporary, lasting only as long as one remains continually exposed to the Falciparum parasite. Planters and physicians knew this and deliberately cultivated local malarial immunity in their newly arriving slaves by seasoning or allowing them to be bitten by area mosquitoes, thus infecting them with the local strain. And whites underwent seasoning as well. However, One type of malaria immunity is racially distributed in the United States. 95% of sub-Saharan Africans and approximately 70% of African Americans are Duffy negative. This means that they lack the Duffy antigens, without which Plasmodium vivax cannot penetrate red blood cells and cause illness. So we do have some immunity, I guess. People of any ethnic group who have sickle cell trait possessing a single gene for sickle cell anemia also enjoy a partial protection against deadly falciparum malaria. So do people with one gene for the related blood diseases, or hemoglobinopathies, thalassemia, hemoglobin S, and hemoglobin C. These are not Black immunities. They also protect Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, and Asian peoples. Interestingly, the contradiction of the Black slave is both riddled with imperfections from head to toe, and as a hardy laborer who was impervious to most illness, escaped the scientific races. Scientists express whichever opinion fit their political needs at the moment, as abolitionist Frederick Douglass suggested when he observed that 99 of 100 polygenists were Anglo-Saxon slave owners. Scientists who also claimed that the primitive nervous system of Blacks were immune to physical and emotional pain and to mental illness. This belief, which will be discussed at greater length in the next chapter, released physicians and owners from the responsibility of shielding Black slaves from painful medical procedures and justified torture such as branding, whipping, hobbling, and maiming. He did us dirty. He did us dirty. Yeah, I'm about to get to a stopping point. I'm going to finish like the next two paragraphs. Let me get to the stopping point. I'm going to finish the next two paragraphs and we'll end it there. My bad, about 3 paragraphs. All these precepts of scientific racism, although convenient for the slave owners and physicians, were highly illogical articles of faith. So was the supposed inferior intelligence of Blacks, because planters and doctors behaved in many contexts as though they held the abilities and judgment of Blacks in high regard, employing slaves in responsible positions as nurses, cooks, herbalists, midwives, overseers, leaders of work gangs, accountants, and operators of farm and factory implements. Owners reap profits from the many patents of slave inventions, and physicians used slaves as skilled apprentices, who often went on to practice independently. White households depended upon the specialized skill interest slave. Spanish, artful, well-spoken, crafty, and intelligent slaves who typically abandoned in well-organized groups, who typically absconded in well-organized groups, often with a light-skinned Confederate who posed as their owner until they reached freedom. Advertisements referred to some slaves not only as literate, but as polyglots, fluent in French, German, and Dutch. Some were refined violinists and declaimers. Others practiced professions such as doctor or dentist. And the master's plaintiff wondered that an apparently docile slave should have given him the slip is complacence given the slip is a commonplace of these advertisements. Well, I'm stumbling over these last words in this last paragraph. Shit. The dearly held precepts of scientific racism sound nakedly racist, absurd, or both today. But in the 18th and 19th centuries, scientific racism was simply science, and it was promulgated by the very best minds of the most prestigious institutions of the nation. Other more logical medical theories stressed the equality of Africans and laid poor Black health at the feet of their abusers. But these never enjoyed the appeal of the medical philosophy that justified slavery and, along with it, our nation's profitable way of life. And we're going to stop right there. We're going to stop right there. I want to pick back up. Man, we're almost done. We got about 1, 2, 3, about 5 pages, 4, 5. We got about 5 pages left to finish off chapter 1. And if today goes good, I don't want to lie and say I'm going to come back, and I don't, because I hate doing that. I really don't like doing that. I don't like saying it myself, and then I don't hold fast to the words I say myself. I don't like that. I really want to be consistent with the reading so we can make sure we have a consistent, coherent, cohesive reading of The Medical Apartheid by Miss Harriet A. Washington. So that way anybody who comes later, if they missed the live, can pick up where we left off and grasp and gain whatever things that they can learn and grow from the reading. So we'll try. We will come back the next episode and finish off chapter 1, which I was hoping to do this morning, but we can do it today. But I appreciate everybody that came in and gave their comments, their commentary, comments, liked, gave their time. I appreciate it. It definitely helps the algorithm. It definitely helps me move further up into the YouTube streets. I'm out here. So, hey, like we started about a week ago or so. You know, we work our body, work our mind, and we're going to end up with working our body again. So the same thing I did to start 25 of, it's the same thing I'm going to do to end. I'm going to do 25 of them as well. So I'm gonna jump on my log, man. 25 of these push-ups that I'm working on. 25 lighters on my breath. So get your ass up, man. Get your ass up, men, women. Kind of like my necklace slapping against this stump. Mess my necklace up. All right, let's get it. 25 things, whatever it is. 25, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do this. 25 of my shit. You do 25 of yours. Just get your behind up, man. Get the fat off you. Get the laziness off you. Get the procrastination off you, man. Let's try to work it. It's going to take some consistency. We have to build up some consistency so we can build up a new habit. And this is a new habit that I'm definitely trying to build up. But hey, you can work with me. 25 exercises to start, 25 exercises to end, as well as an hour reading in the middle. At least an hour reading a day. Work our body, work our mind, work our body. We grow. Grow yourself. Learn and grow. Be who you want to be. That's what I'm going to do. And what I want to be is fine. Oh, fine. Oh, and strong to be able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Oh, I got to start somewhere, though. You got to start somewhere. So let's start. 25 of something. You do something, I'm going to do me something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, almost done. 21, 22, 23. We slowing down. 24. Ooh, 25. One more. Big baby. I got my shit in. I hope you got yours in, man. I got mine in. Get yours in. Do your thing. Whatever it is, do your thing. Oh, now I'm gonna let my chickens out. Check for eggs. But man, that's today's session. Today's episode of Reading with SHILO, man, where we dove into Miss Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid. What are they doing crazy shit to us? And Miss Harriet Washington, Miss Harriet Washington definitely is doing so far a great job at, putting the information out there, for putting the treasure trove of knowledge and facts and information that was put out at her times and the times before her. So we're going to take the time and see what we can learn and grow from in Miss Harriet A. Washington's book. Try to put another notch on the confidence booster of reading, because these big books are books that I would have shied. Well, it may not be book to people who read a lot. I'm not a big reader. I haven't been. But I have been changing that mindset, or trying my best to change that mindset, and I have killed 23 books. Oh, I'm out here. Book assassin. I'm building up my assassination of books because I want to be a better reader. Plus, my sons, I need them to see me reading, since a lot of children follow the example that was given or was shown to them. So many things I want them to see me doing so they can have it in their mind that they can do it. So reading is one of them. And it's not just for my sons, for all my children. They're my children who have a problem reading, or maybe they have a problem with their confidence in certain things. Maybe seeing their father do something that maybe is hard, and showing that his persistence, even through the hard things or the things that's uncomfortable to him, maybe it can help them and push them through, so that way they can be persistent and keep going in the things that they may, encounter in their lives later on. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. Once again, man, this has been this episode of Reading with SHILO. I'm SHILO, man. I'm out here. What's up? And I'm going to keep doing my part, man. SHILO Hammer, destroyer of worlds, by reading. Do my part by reading. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to read books that I find interesting, or I think I might find interesting. But, I know that it's going to have to be more than that. It's going to have to be more than books that I find interesting and books that help me be motivated. It's going to be some shit that I might have to read that's going to suck. Oh, Lord. But, it's part of it. That's all part of it. You have to do things in life that may suck as well. It's got to be done. Shit got to be done. The reading has to be done. They say, you want to hide something from a nigga? Put it in the book. Let's see what they got hid in there from me. What they trying to keep from me? They trying to keep the veil over my eyes. But I will not be denied this wisdom. I will not be denied this wisdom. I will not be denied this wisdom. I'm going to find it. You better watch out. Because when I find it, it's on, baby. Yeah, I have those. I read a lot of those. I read a lot of manga. I read a lot of comic books. When I was growing up, J.R. Tolkien was my favorite, like the Hobbits, those type of things. Really, those are the only books I did read. J.R. Tolkien books when I was young. I mean, I read other stuff. We had a reading list, and when I was in school, when I was younger, we had like every summer they had this summer program where every book you read, you would get like a coupon for a free personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. So, you just had to bring the books in. You had to read the book and then do a book report on the books that you read. Man, I had me some pizza, man. I was reading, but I wasn't reading shit I wanted to read. I was just reading stuff. I was just reading stuff because the end result was the pizza. Hey, so I made it a point to get what I wanted. But I read stupid shit. I read stupid shit that I don't even remember today. I might have read stuff that was on a reading list from school. I remember doing those things, but those were things I had no intention of paying attention to. It was just reading and trying to get through. So hey, but it is what it is. And today, now that I'm at the age I am, it's definitely I've always had books. I've always had books. This ain't even all my books that I've had. I've had to get rid of books, and now I'm at the point of where I am. Now I'm at the point of where I'm trying to. Let me see. See. Books here. And books there. Books there. Books back there. I'm trying to build up my library. I'm definitely trying to build up my library, but part of building up my library is I want to be able to say that I have read at least every book, or almost every book, and at least once I have read these books. So so that's the objective, and to keep grabbing. This is my Google. So when I do a lot of lives or whatever, I will try my best not to refer to the Google on the phone. I want to do it the old way. I want to do it the old way, the way I learned how to do it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Google helps at times, but what if the internet falls? What if the internet goes out? What if you can't Google nothing? You have to have your own. Oh, my boy! All praises to the Most High God. Oh, my son. Oh, my son. Oh, Lord. Oh, my boys. All praises to the Most High God. Oh, you up here. Get out of the way. Let me get my Sunday in business. Oh, my boy. Oh, my son. Oh, you're alive. You're awake. You up. You got eyes. You got ears. You got nose. You got a mouth. You got some hands and some feet. Oh, you got everything you need to succeed today. Oh, huh? Oh, my boy. How you feeling today, huh?
Good.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
All right. You were cold?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Have you eaten anything yet?
No,
You gonna go get you something to eat?
yes.
No. I love you. I love you. I love my boy. I love my boy. I know. I gotta cut a lot. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna keep pushing throughout the day. We're gonna keep pushing through the day. This has been today's episode of Reading with SHILO. And I'm SHILO. I'm out here. I'm out here. So catch us later. Man, put my spoon up. Man, I gotta finish that. Nobody done with that spoon. Catch us later on the next episode of Reading with SHILO, man, where we No, I have not been working with a laser. No, I carve by hand. My carvings are by hand. I'm learning to carve by hand. Another skill I'm trying to master. Yeah, but we'll be back next time. Hopefully later on today. So we can go ahead and finish reading chapter 1. And pick back up and finish off chapter 1 of The Medical Apartheid by Miss Harriet A. Washington. I hope you're here to check it out. I hope you're here to see it. And if you're not, catch it on the back end. Catch it on the back end. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your people, man, what's up with us. Tell your people. We out here. Hey, shalom, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Hello.
SHILO out. I'm out here.
SHILO is